Hello and welcome everyone to today's Fairygodboss, a live webinar. We are so excited to have you all join us here today, and we are going to give folks just a few seconds to connect. And some of you have already jumped in here. So while we're waiting, I would love for you to continue to join into the chat box and let us know where you are tuning in from today. You'll see on the right side of your screen, there is a chat box. So feel free, feel comfortable if you would like to go ahead and let us know where you are joining us from in the chat. We've got folks from Canada joining us today. We have folks from San Francisco, New York. Goodness, with Delaware is here, Texas, Nebraska, North Carolina, Charlotte. What's up, Charlotte? Right down the road from us here in Mooresville, North Carolina. We've got Colorado here joining us. So go ahead, pop in that chat box. Let us know where you are joining from. Awesome. Look at this. Hello, Kelly, Nicole, Deb, Hugh. How's it going out there? Mooresville, North Carolina. We've got people from DC. Again, folks from joining us from Alberta, Canada. This is so cool, you guys. There are people from all over the place joining us today. Thank you guys for all being here. We're going to give everybody just a few more seconds here to continue to join us. But awesome stuff. Joining up from Atlanta, California, Missouri, Minnesota, Charleston. Love this. We even have a lot of Lowe's folks joining us today. We love to see our Lowe's family joining us. So thank y'all for being here as well. So I see folks from all over the place. That is amazing. Thank you all for taking the time out of your busy days to be here with us. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to go ahead and get started. First, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Moe Mowery. I am a senior master trainer here at Lowe's University, but y'all should know that is not where my career started. I started about 11 years ago as a seasonal hire at Lowe's up in a tiny little town called Tiffin, Ohio, where I was just a seasonal loader. And I worked really hard to get to where I am here today in the store support center in Mooresville, North Carolina, but it took a lot of hard work, and specifically in a male-dominated space, and a lot of leaning in on leadership and taking the time to get to know myself as well. So very excited to be here with Fairygodboss and some of my colleagues taking the time to answer your questions. So before we get started, I have a few quick announcements. This session will be recorded and shared via email with all registrants. Now, during our discussion, we would love for you to give us some feedback, take some time to let us know any thoughts that you have, and we hope that you are using this stage chat to the right of your screen to send messages, comments, and also go ahead and feel free to use the Q&A tab to send questions to the panelists as well. And now I'm excited to kick off today's event where we are going to embrace new opportunities with confidence, sponsored by Lowe's Home Improvement. And I am thrilled to be joined here by three of my colleagues, Allison Elliott, Jennifer Colato, and Cynthia Wright. So would each of you take just a moment here to introduce yourselves, please? We would love to hear what's going on in your personal life because, listen, we spend a lot of time here at work, but also who you are is very important to us. So personal life and professional life and what you do in your role today at Lowe's. Allison, we'll go ahead and start with you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Like Mo said, my name is Allison Elliott. I am a proud mom of three kiddos that are 21, 15, and 14, and the wife to my husband, Quincy, for the last 15 years. We've actually crisscrossed the country. We're from Michigan originally. We were out in Seattle for about 9 years, and we've been here in North Carolina for the last 7. I'm a huge Michigan State sports fan. That's where I went to college. And I may not be great at them, but I love a good DIY craft. My role here at Lowe's is a merchandising project manager. So in the simplest terms, I get to wrangle all of the cats together and make all of the dreams come true in the stores for our merchants for the things they buy and get awesome products on the shelves for our customers. So that's a little bit about me.
I love it. Allison, thank you so much for being here with us today and looking very much forward to getting to know you even more. Awesome stuff. Jennifer, please go ahead and introduce yourself and your role here at Lowe's.
Awesome. Well, a huge shout out again to everyone joining us. This is so awesome to see everybody and the chat's lighting up. So thank you for joining. My name is Jen Colato. I am thrilled to be joining you. I also have three kiddos, 9, 6, and 3. So the chaos is real, absolutely, between home life. But truly, truly, truly thankful for my most amazing best friend and husband, Jorge, who's along with me for that crazy ride called life. So a little bit of background for myself. I am from Wisconsin, originally in Iowa, so definitely excited to see the Midwestern states represented here as well. From there, moved to New York, was there in New York City for 15 years, had a very eclectic background, which we'll hit on a little bit here, and I've been here at Lowe's for 11 years now and have held various roles within the business side, supporting systems and technology, but have made a recent move the last 6 months to technology officially. And I'm in a product management role, supporting all carts and checkouts, whether it be stores, online, everything. So really from an enterprise, if you're shopping with Lowe's, it's going through one of our systems. So thrilled to be here today.
So cool, Jennifer. Congratulations on the move. And I can't wait to
Thank
hear more about it later on. Awesome stuff. Cynthia, round us out here, my friend.
All right. Well, hi everyone. I'm Cynthia Wright, and I also have three boys or three kids. It's in the water, I guess. I'm originally from Southern California, and I relocated to Charlotte, North Carolina in 2018. I've been with Lowe's for about 7 years, and my current role is as a senior program manager for technology special projects. What that really means is that I get to wear a lot of hats. I help plan and execute internal events like town halls, AI product management, and the community of practices and demo days and internal communications. And I track projects and initiatives across the organization. My work centers on creating connection and clarity from our teams and making sure our associates feel informed and engaged.
Incredible. Thank you, all three of you, for being here with us today. I'm really excited to be a part of this discussion with all of you. And for those of you who are just tuning in, I would like to remind everyone that we will be answering questions that come directly from all of you. So please take some time, over to that Q&A and submit your questions to that tab on the right side of your screen, and we will go ahead and do our best to respond to as many as possible. So feel free to ask whatever is on your mind. We will take the time to make sure that we get them answered as best as we can. So I'll go ahead and start us off here. So, ladies, it has been just a pleasure to already be here with you. I've definitely met a few of you, and so it is nice to see new faces and some familiar faces. And I'd love to know a little bit more about your career path and what led you to your current role that you're in right now.
Right. Well, I will start off. So my path to becoming a merchandising project manager has been pretty unique, to say the least. Um, Out of college, I began my career in loss prevention, so catching shoplifters, and that was in the retail space. And that eventually actually led me to Lowe's in about 2006. I held several roles in the stores to include that loss prevention role. But when we moved to Seattle, I left Lowe's, kind of started to do life a little bit differently out west, and actually ended up going back to school and getting my master's degree in school counseling. I was an elementary school counselor out in Washington and then here in North Carolina when we moved here, and really loved that role. And then during the 2021 school year, as much as I loved it, I knew I needed something different. So I was fortunate enough to be able to rejoin Lowe's. I came in store operations and was able to support our awesome front end associates out in the store, so our cashiers and cash office folks. And then in 2023, I moved from that role into supporting our merchants here in project management. So definitely have loved it, but it definitely hasn't been linear. We've kind of been all over the place.
That's I love it. First of all, what we like to call you, Allison, is a boomerang when you leave and you come back. So I'm so glad we got you back in the vest. And it is really it feels so relatable, your story. And so thank you for sharing a little bit more about you and what got you here back to Low. So really cool. Also, I used to be in asset protection, so I know exactly how that goes. Cynthia, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay. So my career path into this role wasn't something that I mapped out from the start. It really evolved over time. Before moving to program management, I spent several years as an administrative professional, senior or supporting senior executives. And in that role, I was essentially managing mini programs of my own every day, tracking projects, building detailed itineraries, coordinating across teams, and making sure key milestones were met. So I eventually realized that so many of those skills, organization, communication, stakeholder management, and anticipating needs, were completely transferable to a broader program management role. I already had experience keeping complex initiatives on track and connecting the dots between people and priorities. So when the opportunity came up on the role focused on internal programs and events in technology at Lowe's, I saw the natural next step, and it allowed me to take the skills I built supporting one executive and apply them at scale. So
It's always nice when you have that natural step, right? It feels good, but it is also, it still takes that confidence to push yourself to even take this step. So love it, Cynthia. And I can't wait to hear a little bit more about that later. Jennifer, you're up next.
Awesome. I will say this from a career path perspective, and what led me here is I am a continual learner. It's just inbred in me. And though I actually did, my career path took a hiatus right after high school before going on to actual college and going right out there, as I moved to New York and did a theater stint and dance. So took a very different path before jumping back into more business and corporate world, and now landing here in technology. But the one thing that does always, I love talking with folks about, is the fact that no one who is where they are maybe immediately foresaw themselves or foresaw themselves in a different aspect of it, right? And so I think that, Mo, you just hit on that resiliency, right? And that ability to adapt and change through these career changes and keep, again, for me, myself personally, it's that learning aptitude and always staying open to it. So I've been very blessed where I've been given opportunities. And though it may have felt like it came totally out of left field, right? Moving from dance to, and, working on the Broadway stint and everything, and then going into commercial property management in New York City, just because I was talking with different folks there. So being able to take that opportunity, learn from it, and then take that forward just from a career path perspective. I do have kind of a motto that I do say that keeps up with it, and it's just keeping, we call it the 4 H's. So coming from the Midwest, right, that certainly is inbred in you too, but it's keeping just that happy, humble, helpful, and hungry, that desire just to keep learning. So kind of that personal drive as well, and motto for myself. So excited.
I love that. I'm stealing that
Yeah.
shamelessly, Jen. I hope you know that. The happy, humble, helpful, and hungry.
Love it.
I think that that really lines up with our values and our behaviors here at Lowe's. So I appreciate you for sharing that. That's awesome. Ladies, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So, could you provide us with some examples of skills that may have not felt relevant at the time, but have ended up opening new doors for you over the years? So, Jen, I'll go ahead and pass it over to you.
Love to. Yeah. So I'm gonna kick off again just where we kind of landed with that really eclectic background of, again, the theater background, and then determining, okay, where do you go from here, and realizing, hey, I'm going to take a complete pivot and go back to school, right? International business economics and that asset management. So staying in New York, working for one of the world's largest asset management companies, and did a lot from a global perspective around the world with that company there. And then being able to always have the interest within technology. So getting exposure to both hardware infrastructure and then software from the technology side, which is really what helped lead me here. So those, I think, skills and that may have not seemed relevant at that time, but always being open and learning and being able to take those notes forward, that ambition too, that I was able to take. And again, going back to that comment of just always saying yes, right? It may not have felt like the most obvious answer of, I'll learn it if you're willing, but being able to take that, you have so many more skills and traits that many of us even sometimes acknowledge or realize. And you can always carry that through. So just even hearing Cynthia and Allison talk about those different skill sets that they've already been able to grow upon and expand upon is definitely one. And that's one I've seen that has actually carried me through to technology, where couldn't be more thrilled to be on the Lowe's tech organization. So.
I love that. And I love seeing Cynthia and Allison just nodding their heads and like agreeing with a lot of the things you're saying. This is so great. And I think something that you really can't teach is passion, right? And so you've got to be willing to show up and kind of show out. So Jen, love the response. Awesome stuff. Allison, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my husband for work travels a ton, and having
Oh,
three kids.
Allison, I think we're having just a little trouble hearing you, just a smidge there. You wouldn't mind helping us out with that? Let's see.
How? How?
Oh, it's a little bit better.
We gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, we got you.
Sorry about that, y'all. So my husband travels a ton for work. As I mentioned previously, I have three kiddos that are extremely involved. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I definitely developed a strong skills in communication and coordinating things. I think a lot of moms out there may be able to relate to that. So learning to play violin, trying to figure out all the factors that were involved with anything from work as a school counselor to like career day for each members leading into how are we going to get three kids to three different places within 20 minutes, and I'm the only one who gets dropped off where and picked up. So I think all of those things together really help develop that coordination and communication that is really well in the project management space that I live in now. And I've always myself. So I have a side of my dad that says everything is figure out and bring those things together and didn't really develop the skills that I needed to be successful right now.
Incredible. Allison, thank you so much. I think if you wouldn't mind checking your sound a little bit more for us, because for the next one so we can get you a little bit clearer. But thank you so much for that response. I love it. We're going to move on to the next one. I'm a little curious. How do you identify the right time to make a career change? That's a big decision to make. So how do you make that decision, and what motivated you to take the next step or try something new? Cynthia, we'll pass it over to you for this one.
Okay. Well, I started noticing that roles like my current role were becoming more common in tech, and especially in each portfolio, and focused on keeping internal events, communications, and initiatives organized and moving forward. And it felt like a natural evolution of the kind of work I was already doing, just at a larger scale. I had inquired about opportunities before I wasn't quite and I was told I wasn't quite ready yet. And that feedback actually motivated me to keep developing my skills and learning more about what the roles required. Then one day, one of my senior peers mentioned that she was leaving her role to become a program manager and encouraged me to consider applying for her backfill. I thought about it, and the very next day, I saw that there was an opening posted, and I reached out directly to the hiring manager to learn more. And as we talked, I realized that the role aligned perfectly with my strengths and the kind of impact I wanted to make. And that moment reinforced something important for me. Sometimes the right time isn't about waiting until you feel completely ready. It's about recognizing when opportunities match your skills and ambitions and having the courage to take the next step.
Yeah, if we wait around for that right time, it'll never come, right? We have to put ourselves out there and just try. So I love that. Allison, let's go ahead and try your microphone again. Oh, I can't hear you at all this time. That's okay. I know you want to keep trying, so I'll let you keep trying. We'll go ahead and move on to the next question. Allison, you just let me know backstage whenever you're ready, okay? Awesome. Love it. So, are there any parts of y'all's story that you've felt hesitant to share with a recruiter when you're applying? And how were you able to reframe those things so that it seemed as more of a strength? How could you create that as a strength in your application? Cynthia, I think I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one.
Okay, well, there's sometimes this misconception that being an executive assistant or an admin means just scheduling meetings, but when in reality, those require incredible strong project management, communication, and problem solving skills. But over time, I realized that the work I was doing, coordinating across teams, tracking deliverables, managing logistics for complex initiatives, was exactly what program management is all about. And I started to highlight the transferable skills, how being an admin taught me to anticipate needs, manage multiple priorities, and keep projects on track under pressure. And once I started owning that experience with confidence, it actually became one of my biggest strengths because I bring both a strategic lens and a deep understanding of how to make things happen operationally. So.
Incredible. This is like the meat and potatoes of really understanding what is next for a lot of our viewers. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead. I think, let's see. I want to just make sure I don't skip anything here. Cynthia, thank you for that response. I'm going to actually jump to some of our viewers' questions. So this is kind of just whoever wants to answer it on the spot. Feel free to come off mute and we'll go ahead and go from there. We'll start with Kelsey Moss. She says, I would love to hear about the mindset shift that helped you embrace uncertainty or self-doubt when stepping into something new. Anybody? Jen, I see you came off mute.
I will come off mute because my goodness, so very real. And everyone I think that I've talked to, right, is it's almost getting beyond that imposter syndrome. I'm going to use that terminology because I know, again, when you think about that self-doubt or just, again, even what Cynthia was talking about there of like that next career step, when do you feel ready, right? And you can talk yourself out of it so quickly. So for me, that is a very real hurdle to get through. And it always has been. And you can always be your own worst critic, I think. But I think for myself, it's just really starting to realize what we're talking about here. It's not just, hey, what skills and traits do you have? It's getting really comfortable and understanding what value you do bring and being able to say, hey, this is what I am strong at. And part of it can be, I'm a really resourceful and quick learner too, right? So if you're going after something new with this career shift or mindset, you are able to say, I may not come with X number of years of experience, but by golly, this is one thing that I can do really well. And being able to talk through that. Also being able to, I think one thing that has really helped me with this as well is being able to talk through that with select individuals who maybe they're in that mentorship type of role, right? And being able to pull that out of you. Not everyone maybe has access to a coach or anything. I know I don't, but being able to leverage those mentors to help support you and walk you through it and understand here's how you can approach it from that perspective. So love the question because it is certainly one that I think all of us grapple with. So
Yeah, shout out Kelsey for that one. I couldn't agree more though, Jen. Having somebody to kind of run these things by and help bring you along the way, and also even kind of learn from their own struggles and their lessons is such a valuable thing. And I'll be really honest, folks, and Kelsey, I haven't had a lot of opportunity where there have just been mentors out there. I've had to go and look for them. And thankfully, in the current role I'm in, I have the most incredible mentor that I think I could possibly ever get. But it took almost 10 years to find her. So I encourage you all to look as much as you can using LinkedIn, using Fairygodboss, using the tools you have available to you. So I love that. Did anybody else want to answer Kelsey's question? I can also repeat it if we need to. Okay. Awesome. I'll go ahead and move on to Chelsea Murphy. She says, we've all faced moments when things didn't go as planned. What's one closed door that ultimately redirected you towards something greater? Great question. Anybody want to jump on that one? Jen, go ahead. I see you came off mute.
I'm happy because as I talked about here from my own career move here, that did, I think, propel me into it. One of my main questions that I always ask folks and candidates that I'm interviewing with was, are you running to something or are you running from something? And the reason I say that is because with my most recent move here, it was something where it was all roads leading to, hey, it's time for a move, where I was with my family, where I was with my kids, and just from a career path and where I knew I wanted to end up with. So there was so many things that started to really present myself. And that was the one question that kept popping in my head. Is I always ask everybody else this and then I wait for their answers, but I really had to start self-reflecting and go through this on my own. And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't running from something and I was truly running to a next career path and move that I knew I wanted to make. And Mo, to use your phrase, what am I passionate about, right? And what is going to wake me up and just jump me out of bed and say, I'm exhausted, but I am so pumped, right, to be doing this. So I think that's one of those things, is really just taking that moment, which is tough when you're going through it, but taking that pause for yourself to really understand what's good for you, for your family, for what's next. And I think for myself, again, I took some time before deciding, hey, this is the best move for me, because I did have other options at the point. And I knew I wanted to stay where, within Lowe's, within this organization. And so just, again, it did work out, but it took longer than I wanted it to, but I couldn't be more thrilled with where I'm at now.
I love it. It's tough when something closes. It's definitely can be discouraging and push you towards staying content with where you are. And so I think you're absolutely right, Jen. It's taking the time to really understand what you're passionate about and start leaning into that even more and more. Love these answers, you guys. I'm taking mental notes. I'm really glad we're recording this so I can go back and watch it later. Did anybody else want to answer Chelsea's question before I move on to the next one? Closed doors redirecting you to something greater. Okay, I'll keep moving. We've got another one here. I will go back to the Q&A questions that you all have jumped or dropped in there. If you would, again, I'm just going to remind everybody there is a Q&A tab in the chat box. So if you would love to go ahead and put in a question, please do. And we'll come back to those here shortly. So I'm going to move on to this next question. And Cynthia, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to you first. And then Jen, I'll give it back to you next. Okay. It says, how do you confidently take the next step towards a new opportunity, even when the outcome is uncertain?
Okay, so for me, taking the next step, even when I wasn't sure how it would turn out, came down to me trusting my skills and experience I already had. I didn't have every single qualification listed in the job description, but I knew I had strong foundation, organization, communication, project tracking, and the ability to bring structure to complex work. I also reminded myself that growth rarely feels comfortable. Every major step in my career, whether it was moving across the country, changing industries, or shifting roles, came with some level of uncertainty. But I've learned that confidence isn't about knowing exactly how everything will go. It's about believing you'll figure it out along the way.
I love that. You'll figure it out along the way, because you're absolutely right. There is no certain path that any of us are going to take. I mean, 10 years ago, did you guys believe that you would be here in this moment having this conversation with me? I didn't either, right? I would have never guessed. And so I really love that's a very refreshing response there, Cynthia. Thank you for that. Jen, let's hear from you.
Awesome. No, I will say that this is one, again, going back to that, carrying on a little bit from Chelsea's question too, of this, like, how do you make this shift and how do you go about this, but do it confidently and authentically, right? And so I think that is one where that mindset is really important for myself, right? Is being able to understand that this is something I am passionate about, right? This is something that I know is going to be good in the long run. There's going to be some uncertainty as you're maybe going through it, but being able to be honest with those emotions and being able to talk through it is going to really help me. And that actually helps my confidence without just kind of trying to push that down a little bit and work through it. So that grounding for me, I think, is really something that I always stick to within this. Also staying what we've talked about with just these values and being able to, as we've talked about here a little bit, is making sure that the move I'm making, I'm feeling really supported from that leadership and from that organization. That also helps within that confidence, right? You're not going to have all the answers. You're not going to have 5% of the answers, maybe even right when you're starting, right? But I think that's really very important, is that you've got that support system and that you know that they're going to be able to help you through that as you're going along and as you're moving through it. So,
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think there's been so many times where I've faked the confidence because no one knows if confidence is real or not. So you just fake it until you make it, and sometimes that gets you to the right places. So these are incredible. I wish that earlier on in my career I could have had conversations like this. So I really appreciate these responses. I'm going to go to the next one. I think that this one is something that's near and dear to my heart. So I'm very grateful I get to ask this one for you all. But who do you turn to for guidance when you are thinking about making a career move? And Jen, I'll turn it back over to you.
amazing. So I, as we've talked about here, and Mo, I love that too, where you're saying, hey, it took me a really long time to get that mentor or that person. Same, right? And it's been 20 about 20 years or so kind of in this working environment. But I think as we talk about relationships and those keywords, right? Relationships, networking, all of that side, as you're staying authentic and as you're staying true and establishing those real relationships and garnering that trust along the way. For me personally, I call it my own personal board of directors, right? And I just maybe I like that phrase because I'm hoping one day I'll get more exposure to that type of a level, right? But I think really what I've also seen other leaders say is they've got a core kind of set of key individuals, right? And it could be a mixture of both work and personal folks who that over the years you've really established that connection or trust with, and they've also seen you work, right? They've seen your strengths, they've seen your weaknesses, and they're able to help as you're going through these processes. And you know who those individuals are. You may not have, as again, throughout all of these career changes, those folks who I maybe took a chance and called for, hey, can I get a little bit of advice throughout the career and years, right? You know the person who's going to pick up that phone call and give you some of those honest responses. And that's how you start to build up that board of directors. Because even 5+ years ago, I wouldn't even say I had kind of that group, but I've really worked through to try and establish that along the ways. So for me, it's really just being able to have those folks who you can call, who also are aware of where my values are. They know my goals and my ambitions. So they're when they're giving me that advice, it's very sound advice, and it's advice that you're going to listen to. You always feel energized as well when you hang up that phone call and you're like, I'm going to go get it, right? That was awesome, but maybe real advice. Maybe I didn't necessarily want to hear all of it, but I'm glad I heard it, right? And so that really just helps me with that overall growth and just personal well-being. Because if you're doing good personally too, that's going to show up and reflect in your work.
Yeah, feedback is that gift you can give all year long and receive all year long. And it is those people who, yeah, you're right. You might not always like the response or the answer or the feedback, but it is truly what helps guide you to the next step. So I love that. Cynthia, what are your thoughts around this one?
I have a shorter answer, but it's like I love Jen's answer, and mine is just a guidance from a mix of trusted voices. So like my mentors, peers, and my own inner compass. Actually, I did have a peer that pushed me to apply for the role I'm in right now. She said, "You're ready for it. You can do this." And I'm like, okay. And then I went home and talked to my husband. And then next morning I took that step, and it's just, the career moves also is with both confidence and clarity. So
Yeah, that support system is so important to build a strong support system. It's not a bunch of people who are, telling you all the nice things that you need to hear. It's those people who are going to be real with you, and that is really what sets you up for success. Love these. I'm going to move on to the next one. Allison, I'm going to pass this one over to you. What advice would you give someone who is watching today, who is thinking about making that next step, and what's the first step that you took to make your career change?
Awesome. Just wanted to check and make sure. Can you guys hear me okay now? Awesome. Great. So for me, I think it's really giving yourself permission to put yourself first. And as a mom and a wife, that can be hard sometimes. So putting yourself first and then really recognizing that the career that I had invested so much financially and so much hard work into, and that I was sure I was going to retire from, didn't really align with the life I wanted anymore. And that wasn't really an easy realization to come to and allow myself to be comfortable with, but it was really necessary. So really my advice to anyone considering a change is just to give yourself permission to reassess your goals. Your goals today might not be your goals in 5 years, and be honest about what's sustainable for you and what's fulfilling for you. And then from there, just one step at a time. And even if it's a baby step, and that could be just updating your resume or having a conversation with a mentor or a friend about, a change that you might be feeling is necessary, but really just one small step and giving yourself the permission to take it.
That's really incredible advice, Allison. I love that. And I'm so glad you're back. Let's go. Let's all give Allison a nice round of applause for troubleshooting that tech, because we all know technology is great when it works, not so much when it doesn't. So, Allison, welcome back. Thank you for doing that. Cynthia, we would love to hear your thoughts on this as well.
Okay, my advice would be to start where you are. Don't wait until everything feels perfectly aligned or until you're 100% ready. Change isn't about having every skill figured out on day one, and it's about recognizing what you already bring to the table and being open to learning the rest along the way. For me, the first step was simply getting curious and starting conversations. I asked questions, reached out to people doing the kind of work I was interested in, and learned what skills were most valuable in those roles. I also took time to reflect on my own experiences and realizing that so much of what I did as an administrative professional, project tracking, again, coordinating, communication, directly translated to program management. And once I made that connection, I felt more confident putting myself out there. I updated my resume to highlight those skills and reached out when I saw a role that aligned. The one small step being willing to explore and eventually open the door to an opportunity I'm in today. So my biggest advice is don't talk yourself out of an opportunity because it doesn't look like the perfect fit on paper. Focus on what you can offer, take that next step, and trust the clarity will come through action.
Ooh, that last part, mic drop right there. Okay, Cynthia, I see you. All right, ladies, I'm going to turn it back over to our Q&A, take some more from our viewers here with us today. So I want to say just thank you to everyone who is viewing and is here with us and has taken some time to share some questions with us. Sandra B says, does Lowe's encourage employees with future career paths? What do you like most about your job? So anybody who, I'll just take a look and see who opens their mic first and pass it to them. Does Lowe's encourage employees with future career paths? And what do you like most about your job? Allison, over to you.
Yeah, so I would say that we are absolutely encouraged to explore and connect and network. And there are so many events that are put on here at the office and virtually just to get people connected. We have an inclusion network that is phenomenal in bringing people together, whether you are a people leader or an individual contributor looking for a mentorship, looking for a mentee. All of those things are things that I very much value and participate in, along with our ability to access, additional education in classes through Lowe's University and through the partnership with Guild. I know I've taken several classes and certificate programs through Cornell, just to broaden my skill set or hone in on something that maybe I want to grow in the future, but need to learn more about. So those are some of, the opportunities that present themselves all the time here at Lowe's. And the favorite thing about my job, I would definitely say the people. The support that we get is great. And again, that ability to connect with people all across the business, things that I never even would have thought were roles here at Lowe's, have been able to meet people who do amazing things and are critical to the business.
Oh, I don't think I could have answered that any better, Allison. I get to welcome every new associate, whether they're in the store here in the SSE at the corporate space, virtually or in person. And the amount of different roles I would have never guessed Lowe's needed is incredible. And yeah, you're right. The people are amazing. Jen, let's hear from you.
I don't know if I can say it any better than Allison, so I'll double down on everything she said because that was amazing. The only thing I will just really reiterate too is that from a career pathing perspective, I've been with Lowe's now for 11 years, and just the amount of investment and continued investment really does impress me. And again, I've moved to tech, and tech has substantial releases at such a ridiculous pace every 2 weeks. I mean, there's substantial technology leaps every 2 weeks when it comes to this technology that we're working on and supporting within the whole macro space. And so that is really daunting to even say. But the support and the continued learning we have in the tech, I'm in Charlotte here, in our tech office, and we've got Friday learning that every week that you just, again, blows me away. We have with AI, like tips and tricks. There's mentorship circles like Allison was talking about, both formal and informal too. So again, like you were saying, from that inclusion network, just thrilled to see that continue and evolve, right? From Lowe's and the commitment from that side. Like you were saying, just that investment where you can get associate's degrees and being able to help encourage folks. And I will absolutely brag because, to your point, Allison, like one of the favorite things about the job, it's tough to say because number one, I get really geeked out about what we're doing and what we're working on, but it is just the teamwork and the collaboration. I work with some of, I swear, the most wickedly smart people. And so just to be able to have, be able to call those people my team members is really awesome. Because again, it just feels like every day we're helping each other raise the bar a little bit more. So it's, this is a great question, Sandra, but it is one where I think Lowe's really does shine from that side.
Yeah, you're right. Wow. Both of you absolutely crushed that one. Lowe's has been an incredible place to be. I would have never guessed that loading bags of manure and mulch into people's cars at 19 years old would have led me to impacting people's lives in major ways every single day through a company that sells sticks, bricks, and flowers, right? You would have never imagined that this is what we get to do every day. But I couldn't agree more with you guys, the people. It is the incredible people, the impact we get to make on not just the people we work with, but the people that come and shop at Lowe's, and then the communities that might not even shop at Lowe's, but that are impacted by natural disasters and things of that nature. So we get to help in so many different places. I'm going to move on to go ahead to Priscilla. Priscilla says, after deciding you wanted to change careers, how did you know which roles and industry to target when applying to jobs?
Okay, so I will say talk to people. Just networking. If you're not sure, there's a lot that you can learn about in a job description, or finding companies that are near you or where you want to go be and possibly relocate. But I think finding people who are either in roles that you're interested in and learning about, kind of what their day to day is great. But really, for me, it was just networking, talking to people, learning about what they did, learning about their company and what they liked and enjoyed, and being surrounded by, folks from Lowe's. It was a pretty easy choice for me to kind of hone in on this is where I wanted to land if I had the right opportunity. And so, yeah, just get out there and talk to people and network.
Yeah. Jen, I see you came off mute. Let's go.
This is another good one. I love to say, and I hope you don't mind this expression, but coming from more on that Wall Street side of things and in New York and asset management, retail sure didn't sound sexy as a career move and a jump. But to that point, I think it's a really good thing. And to echo that of like which roles and even industry that you may not even consider. I do think it's important that again you're taking a look at that company values and really where you shine and what again where that passion is, and you may not even be realizing where you there that these opportunities exist out there, or again that hey, this may be a really good fit for me going to a home improvement, though I do love that DIY and construction side of things. But again, the one thing too that I love the shout out from the social media perspective, and also too that I have joined Fairygodboss, and for the last 2 weeks just seeing the questions and amount of comments that you guys post and questions, that is amazing. And I think that using that as an opportunity, like Allison was saying, that is such an amazing resource where you can talk to folks and hear from them kind of firsthand on, hey, what is it really like? Or, maybe didn't even think about that. So that's really important to, I think, get that firsthand. And I'm always blown away with the amount of people that will actually talk to you about it and talk to you from the company and tell you what it's really like. Because again, it's one of those things where you may see it, but it's awesome to hear firsthand.
Yeah, the refreshing thing here about Lowe's is that we are all very open and willing to have conversations about pretty much any topic. And the cool, really great thing that I love the most about Lowe's is how you are encouraged to be your authentic self and share those thoughts and feelings. So wonderful responses. We're going to take one last one from our audience here today. And it is, by the way, I can't believe we are almost only 10 minutes away from wrapping this up. Isn't that crazy? It's been lovely spending time with you ladies. So one last one here, and it's Kelsey Moss. She says, as working mothers, we often balance career growth with family responsibilities. How have you learned to pursue new opportunities confidently while maintaining a sense of balance and presence at home? Wonderful question, Kelsey. I appreciate that one. Up for grabs for anybody. It's a tough one. I know. What are your thoughts there?
Okay, so I will jump into this one. I will say one thing that I definitely had to learn how to do is be my most present self wherever I'm physically located. So getting my brain and my body together so that when I am there, I am as close to 100% there as possible. And, I got to the point where when I would come home, if it was a tough day, I would let my family know and that we were going to put that aside. But just so they were aware that, things aren't always super easy. But now that I'm home, I'm here for you guys. So, it's setting boundaries, definitely, and knowing that there's different seasons that you may be in, whether it's a project you're working on and, there may be some late nights or some things that you need to wrap up on the weekend. But if that's not the norm, then, things will come back in balance shortly. So, yeah, that's how it is for me anyway.
Allison, as somebody who wants to have my own family one day, I really appreciate that very authentic and very vulnerable and very real response. So thank you to that. Jen, let's hear your thoughts.
This is, I think, a question, although all three of us ladies have three children. So I do feel like that is a little non-normal, where one or two is a little bit more. So when I usually tell folks I have three kids, the jaw drop or the, the side eyes even. Like, you must be crazy. This is a really tough one, but I feel like it does get asked all the time, and I don't have a great answer, I'll be honest. I think what has helped me with having, full-time working, I love my job and I do love to work, and especially in tech, right? It is some of those crazier hours. But I do feel blessed with this new opportunity because it does afford a little bit more of a balance between my work, being able to work from home and from that side of things. So that is a real blessing for me that has come from this. But for me, it's that harmony. And it's not, I'm really intentional with the word harmony as opposed to balance, because, again, I would always try to get balance as in, okay, this week I'm going to really lean in on work, and then this week I'm going to really lean in on family. No, to your point, like Allison was saying, it's just being there 100%. So for me, it's just being able to realize that I am absolutely Jen, work, PM, but I am Jen who has, three kids, a wife, and there is that, and also being able to speak up and tell my hubby Jorge, hey, I need you to help support on this one. So that's also been a big thing too, is just being able to more confidently say, because they always say that. Was it the default parent? I might be getting that phrase wrong. So sorry, ladies. I also was sick. So, but a lot of it will land on the mom. So again, I think it's just really being able to voice and say, hey, here's what I need. And they're almost always, jumping in and going to be able to help from that one. So again, sorry, I know I said I didn't have a great answer on that one. It's probably not a good one, but
you have a great answer, Jen. She's over here saying she doesn't have a great answer, and it was a fabulous one. Well, ladies, thank you both.
Question.
Yeah, it is a tough question. I can only imagine. I'm not even in those shoes, and so I can truly only imagine. So thank you both. We're going to do just a couple more here before wrapping up our time together today. Now, folks, Fairygodboss has a tradition of asking our panelists what they have observed is that women do not really feel comfortable enough bragging or taking ownership of all of the amazing things that they have achieved. So I'd love for you to just take a moment to share with us an accomplishment, personal or professional, that you are most proud of. Jen, I'd love to hear from you first.
Awesome. This is one where you don't usually see somebody raising hands. So you're going to hear it a little bit in my answer, I think, that I'm going to respond here with is, for me, one of those biggest accomplishments is from that people leadership role, is being able to advocate and help support and also have that kind of ripple effect on folks, where again, it's that rising water, we all can rise together. So when as a people leadership, that's one of the things I'm absolutely most proud of, is being able to help my team, whether it be direct team members or even indirect, and being able to help them find their voice and help them exceed. So that is one where I've through the years gotten more comfortable from that, but being able to have that positive impact. And then also too, just being able to advocate for myself and being confident to advocate for myself and say, again, here's really what I can bring to the table, and here's where I'm at, because that was not something I was good or comfortable at, and would always shy away from. And you even heard it in my first response of, it's the team, though that one is very genuine. I am very proud of that one, but it is one where I think, again, you just got to find your voice and realize all the value that you can bring.
That's right. I love it. Awesome. Allison, let's hear your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, so bragging about myself definitely doesn't come easy, but a lot like Jen mentioned, some of my proudest moments have been about with people, not necessarily a certain project or anything, but coming into my current role, the team was a little disjointed that I supported. There was, a lack of trust, a lot of miscommunication. So, over time, by consistently following through, advocating for what the people I support were trying to do, getting them what they needed to be successful. They saw I was really, standing up for them and advocating for what they needed. We definitely started to get a real team together, and it's something that I'm really, really proud of, because it impacted their life professionally and personally. And we have a great partnership now, a super strong team that, is really critical in bringing really big, complex projects to life in the stores. So yeah, it's about the people. Absolutely.
I cannot agree more. Ladies, wonderful responses to that. Thank you for celebrating yourselves as you should. I appreciate that. And just showing us how it can be difficult, but you've taken the time to do it anyway. So I appreciate that. I've got a lightning round for us. Just real quick before we close out our time together today, what advice would you give your younger self? Jen, to you.
This is a really good one. If I could go back, but no regrets, because again, all that learning. But failure means you're trying. And I think, again, when we talk about kind of that imposter syndrome, it's okay to fail, right? I mean, a little bit, right? Within reason. But again, it is absolutely okay. And that's one thing that, going back to the balance, that is one thing actually, as we do our, dinner, and I tried absolutely hard to be always there for dinner. May not be a good cook, but I'm there for dinner. But I actually asked the kids that, like everyone, like, what did you fail at today? Because I want them to be more comfortable with that and embracing that, as that's okay. Because now you can take that and go forward. And also too, just as women, again, being able to ask and be comfortable asking. Whereas before, I'd wait and say, okay, do I have 100% of these requirements? Have I been doing the job already, even though I'm not even applying for the job? And where they will say, oh, sure, no, you got to ask and just put yourself out there a little bit. So it's okay to do that. So I think that's what I would.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I know little you is out there listening somewhere, and I love that you ask your kids, what did they fail at today? Not only are you impacting the people around you on your team and such, but you're impacting your kids, and they're only going to carry that on and impact others. So wonderful, Jen. Love that response. Allison, let's hear your thoughts here.
Yeah, so a lot like Jen, if I could go back, I would try and convince myself that perfection is simply not obtainable. So try everything. You can look silly and you can fail, and it is okay, because you will learn and grow and just become the best version of yourself. Just try.
Exactly. Perfection is absolutely not obtainable. And that is advice I think we need to remind ourselves of every day, because how often do we strive for perfection and then eat ourselves alive because of it? So thank you for that reminder, Allison. I really appreciate that. And I just want to say a huge thank you so much, Allison, Jennifer, and Cynthia. Thank you for taking the time to be here out of your busy schedules. Thank you for taking the time to join us today and share really fantastic advice. Again, I can't wait to go back and watch this recording myself so I can continue to really take what you put out here for the rest of us and put it into my own life and help impact the rest of the people who get to meet you through me. So thank you all for who tuned in as well for the discussion and put in some questions for us. As a reminder, you will be getting a recording of today's session of our event here with us today, along with resources to learn more about the opportunities here at Lowe's. In the meantime, be sure to check out Lowe's profile and jobs on Fairygodboss. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone. See you.